So let's write some code to see how the while loop, infinite loop works, and how the for loop, infinite loop works. So let's start off with the for. So infinite loop. Okay, so using for. Again, you're free to use the while version or the for version. It's really optional. It's quite optional, whichever you prefer. Okay, let's start off with the for. Okay, and if I simply say cout, let's say hello. Okay, and I leave it at that. Okay, so let's save this. Let's compile. Name of my file is main.cpp. Great, it compiles. Let's execute. Okay, so notice it never stops. For me to stop this, I will have to say Control C. Okay, so that demonstrates what an infinite loop is. It never ends, and obviously we don't want the loop to run forever without some reason, and also without some way to end it. So typically we tend to allow the user to provide that input to end the loop, or to break out of the loop. So I might just say, it might be the user pressing a button. However, in this case, it will be the user typing in -1. Okay. So let's say enter a positive integer. All right. And then let's create a variable. Let's call that input. Okay. And let's store our user inputted value into that variable. Okay. So if I save this and I recompile and I run again, notice that I can put in numbers, right? Even maybe a negative number, right? Although I've been told to put in a positive number. All right. Okay. So this program will never end, right? Just like the first. So if I want to end this program, I will have to say Control C again. All right. So let's now provide a way for the user to exit this program. Right? How do we exit this for loop, this infinite loop? Well, it's quite straightforward. All we need to provide is a conditional. So if what the user typed in is, let's say, -1, right? Then we want to say something like wonderful. Okay, and then we use the break keyword. Okay, so when the compiler sees this break, it will notice that it is inside a for loop, of course, and that it needs to exit this for loop. Okay, so if I add some code here, all right, maybe goodbye. Right, this is outside of the for loop. Okay, you'll notice that this will be the last line that you will see in the program. So after it sees break, it will exit the for loop and it will continue executing the next line of code, which happens to be line 18, which is of course outside of the for loop. Okay. So let's recompile. Let's rerun the program. So let's enter 1, let's enter 9, let's enter 11, and now let's enter -1. So the computer will notice that, okay, -1 is what I was looking for, and so I'm going to print the message wonderful, and then I will exit the for loop. And so what does the computer meet after exiting the for loop? It meets this cout, which it then goes ahead and executes. Okay, so that's the for version. I could easily make this the while version. Okay, all I have to do is to change this from for to while. I could put 1, and that's pretty much it. Okay, if I recompile and rerun, we get the same effect. Right. Likewise, if I go with the other version, instead of using 1, I use true, which essentially means the same thing as 1. Okay. Then if I recompile and rerun, okay, we get the same result. So that proves that we can use the while version or the for version when we want to create an infinite loop. And again, the key takeaway is, if I do not provide a way for the loop to eventually exit, then the program, whatever we do inside the loop, will keep being done forever, or until we say Control C. Okay, so to prevent having to do Control C, we write conditions inside the for loop or inside the while loop as a means of allowing the user to terminate the loop. Okay, and again, once the loop has been terminated, right, the compiler will just continue executing whatever comes next. Okay, so I hope that made sense. I'll see you in the next lesson.